Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Haley. I'm the Director of Academic Advising for the College of Engineering. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong And we're really happy to welcome you here in the fall, and we hope to give you a lot of good information. We'll do our best to leave time for questions. We hope to get to everything.
Hi, and I'm Katie. I am a college advisor in the office, and I'm one of the two advisors you typically talk to when you come in and have questions about GEs, or just where to go and you're not sure, or you're getting a petition. That would be me.
Great. And I'm going to share the screen, so hopefully you can see our PowerPoint. All right. We are in Harold Frank Hall, which you'll get to know very well. It's on the engineering side of campus, we call it, and it is near the ocean. It's beautiful. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon and 1 to 4. And you don't need an appointment. You can just walk in anytime during that time. Hopefully there's not a long wait. Usually there's not, and we will get to you. We'll answer any of your questions, sit with you for as long or as short as you would like. I also included our contact information there. If we don't get to your question today, please feel free to email us. We're here all summer, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. First, most exciting orientation. Well, for international students, you do have Cali training, but after that, on Tuesday, September 26th, we have Discover Engineering. It's a fun event. You get to learn about all the campus resources, meet engineering-specific organizations. There's free pizza from 12 to 1, and it's a lot of fun. From 1 to 2, there's actually a mandatory department meeting. You must go to this meeting, and you'll get to meet your classmates in your major, as well as your major advisors.
And before we start, I'm going to throw out, we're not looking at questions yet. So if you are typing questions, we will not be reading over those until we get to the end of our short PowerPoint, because a lot of things might be answered already by going through what we're going to go through. So if you do still have questions afterwards, ask them then, please. So I'm going to start with going over our gear. And gear is the general education academic requirements. It looks like this. You'll get a hard copy at the Cali training that Haley mentioned. You can also find this on our website, right under undergraduate. It's right on the front page for undergraduate on the COE website. You can also get it on an app. UCSB Guides is an app that you can download, and you can have your gear on your phone for the entire 4 years you're here. These do change year to year, so you guys will always be using 2017, 2018. Requirements change yearly, so as you see new ones come out, that's not your curriculum. This will always be your curriculum. And then goes over almost everything you could want to know. The front has general information about university policies, our college policies. If you're interested in the honors program, that is on page 4. If you have questions about our different degrees and the 5 majors that we have, I've briefly gone over on page 5 under our change of major. From there, it really goes to degree requirements. You can find out how your AP works, or the college placements, any higher exams you've taken. That's in the front from page 7 to 9. You can find how stuff is going to transfer over. And from there, you get into your general education. So it describes each of the general education requirements and what they mean, such as writing requirement, the letter areas, depth is a big one. We'll go over another time. But it shows the titles of all the different GEs you could possibly take to fill out your requirements that I know you guys are all very interested in. I always suggest highlighting titles that look interesting. That way you can look them up later and see when they're going to be offered and if they work for you personally. There are about 5 to 6 pages of general education all listed out. This shows, it has a key as to all the different requirements it could fulfill. You can earn multiple requirements with one GE. The exception to that is it can't cover 2 letter requirements. So if something says it's a letter D and a letter E, the system will only let you use it in one place. But if it gives you writing and ethnicity and also fills a letter area, that's great, and you should definitely take it if it works in your schedule. Moving on, continues on through GEs, and then you get into each department description. So it's alphabetical. You'll find information about the Department of Chemical Engineering, a list of faculty in the offices, or in the departments, excuse me. And then it goes into course description info. So every single class that you'll take for your major is listed in this book, or that you might take for your major is listed in this book. And so you can read the title of the class and a brief description. You can also see here if there are any prerequisites and which class has prerequisites, meaning you need to complete that one before you can enroll in this one. If you continue on, so it goes through chemical engineering, computer, each department has their own section. In the very back, you'll find your grids. This side is all the requirements, and this side is our suggestion of how to complete them. If you follow the grid, it's very possible and likely you'll complete your degree in 4 years. If you're coming in ahead, some students can complete their degree a little bit early, and other majors don't allow for that. So if you're curious about completing your degree early, and if that's possible, talk to your department advisor. A lot of times that would mean summer school, but it is possible. 4 years, they're all laid out. So if you have questions on which class you should be taking or registering for the future quarter, you should refer to your grid first. And if that does not answer your question, your department advisor is there for you, as well as us. Course descriptions.
Answer these questions.
So we did get some early questions, so I'll try to go over some of them. I hope that a couple of them have already been answered. 5 majors, so we do have 5 majors. We have computer engineering and then electrical engineering. Those are housed within the same departments because there's a lot of overlap for a lot of those courses. Computer engineering is a hybrid of software and hardware, whereas electrical engineering is going to be more hardware based. Mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, and then computer science. So all of those 3 majors have their own department advisor. So we have 4 department advisors because electrical engineering and computer engineering share one. They all have very different focuses, and if you are curious about any specific focus of a major or the industries that they lead into or the career opportunities that you might have with a degree, you should talk to your department advisor, and they will set you up with a faculty advisor who can really go into more in-depth detail about industry and course content, because we're academic advisors, but we have not taken these classes. So I cannot tell you about the content of thermodynamics. Deadlines are really important for the College of Engineering, and we want to stress that a lot. We're very different than letters and science in some of those regards, so it's really important for you to know deadlines, especially to add or drop a class and to change grading options. Those are the most common deadlines our students need to know, and you can find these in gold. You can also find them on the registrar's website. So in gold, if you've already played around in your registration portal, you've seen course information and then registration information. On the registration info tab, if you scroll down to near the bottom of the screen, you'll see every deadline of that quarter. So if you're looking at fall 2017, it's going to show you that October 25th is the drop deadline. It's going to show you an add deadline. It's going to show you the change of grading option deadlines. Those are hard deadlines. The College of Engineering really doesn't make exceptions to them. So be sure if you think you might need to drop a class or you think you might want to change a grading option, talk to someone as soon as you are interested in doing that, so that we can make sure you know that the deadline might be coming up or if it's already passed.
All right, so to go into some details about writing placement, because we've had a lot of questions about that, and there's 2 important exams coming up. If you have not met the entry-level writing requirement, also known by its acronym ELWR or ELWR, by the time that you enroll at UCSB, you must take one of the 2 exams listed on this page. For international students, that's the English Language Placement exam, and for domestic students, that's the Analytical Writing Placement exam. The AWPE does require pre-registration, so please go to that website to sign up for that exam if you need to take it. I sent you an email with a lot of information, and one of those was if you needed to take this exam or not. And that information was based on data I had available to me. So I looked at your test scores. If you think I'm wrong and you think you might need to take that exam or that you don't need to take that exam, please send us an email. The email's at the bottom of the page, and I'd be happy to look into it, and we can look at your specific scenario. Just to go over a couple specific kind of test scores that might place you in or out of taking this exam. Common is the AP exams, which we have in here, a list of all AP exams and what they cover. A score of 3 or higher on either English language or English literature exam means that you don't need to take the placement exam, that you have fulfilled the entry-level writing requirement, and that you will start at writing 2 or 2E. Another common one is the old SAT, not the new one, only the old one. If you received a 680 or higher on the writing portion, then you don't need to take the placement exam. Similarly, the old ACT, if you received a 30 or higher on the writing, you do not need to take the placement exam. It's very important that you take this exam in the fall before classes start if you need to take the exam, so that you can be right on track with writing. The exam will be scored quickly. Ideally, we will get you into the course that you were placed into, particularly if it's a linguistics course or if it's writing 1. So please be at this exam if you need to, and please ask us through email any questions you might have about if you need to take it or not. Your UMail account, that's how we contacted you, so you know about it. It's very, very important that you check this at least once a day. This is where advisors will communicate with you. This is where faculty will communicate with you. And you'll get lots of job opportunities, internship opportunities, research opportunities. All this will come through your UMail. If you email one of the advisors for help through a different account, we won't be able to help you. We can only advise you through UMail. It's important not to forward your UMail. It tends to send messages into the junk folder in different email programs, so please do not forward your UMail. All right, we'll move on to fall quarter course enrollment, which I think is what most people have questions about. As you've received emails about, we have enrolled you in your fall quarter courses. We've tried to enroll everybody in your required major courses. You need to check gold, and you need to check your schedule and compare it to your grid that's in gear. Ideally, you should be enrolled in most of the classes that are listed for your first quarter of freshman year. Some students are ahead in math. That's great. If we were able to, we've enrolled you in the appropriate math course. If we haven't enrolled you in math, it's because we don't know what class to place you in, or because we need you to waitlist that class. We have sent you an email with that information, and again, you can email us if you think we are incorrect or if you have any questions at all. Don't drop any courses when your pass time arrives. If you think that you are not in a class, not in a correct class, or that you want to change that class, please contact us. We can make sure that we placed you into the right class. We can explain what that class fulfills in terms of requirements. Yes, ideally you're in everything you need, and you may need to just add a general education course, but please check with us. This is the only quarter, fall quarter, where you will be enrolled in classes by us. In future quarters, it's your responsibility to enroll yourself in your classes via Gold. We'll go over some of the steps to enrolling in classes, but you can always come see us before your pass time to ensure you know what to do. So some of the questions we received regarding course enrollment, I believe I've covered. But I think I really want to refer you back to this gear booklet. You can find so much information in here about, especially looking at that grid and showing exactly what you'll be taking each quarter you're here to make sure that you graduate in 4 years. So for engineers, it's kind of easy. You'll just look at your gear and see what classes you need. And then in terms of general education, there are a lot of options, as Katie showed you. We're happy to help you pick courses. We also know that in some courses we know of fulfill a lot more requirements. So you can come see us and we can talk to you about that and find an efficient way for you to fill GEs. But most students, especially international students, have to take 4 to 6 general education courses. So this is a multiple course requirement, and it will take you a year or 2 or all 4 years to complete, and that's okay.
I'm going to go over Gold a little. Hopefully you guys have all logged into your Gold, played around a little in it. You can't do anything because you're not in a pastime yet, but I hope you're familiar with the portal. It's the system that you'll enroll in classes for each quarter. You can check your past quarter grades in Gold. You can run a degree audit so you can see where your progress is on your degree and what you still have left to complete. You can request transcripts through Gold. There's a lot of information in there, and we have the website address right there. It's important you don't share your password for Gold. I can't stress that enough. If your roommate or your girlfriend or someone logs in and changes a class and it wasn't you, we have no power over that. There is no way to say who logged in. If someone logs into your Gold, whether it be you or someone else, and makes a change, that's an official change. We can't correct that. So don't ever give anybody else your Gold passwords. This is the help screen. So if you were to log into Gold and you go to help, they have really helpful videos. I personally recommend that you watch the add a class demo and that you watch the find courses demo. We're kind of going to go over your class schedule demo, so you'll see what that looks like. The videos are not long. They're 3 to 4 minutes, and they're going to show you the functionality of Gold, which we can't do in our PowerPoint. So please take 10 minutes out of your day in the next week and go over those videos before your pastime opens up, which should be in the next couple days for everybody. This is what the view schedule screen looks like. So if you were to click on my class schedule, as you can see, you can toggle between quarters. So if you wanted to see what you took in past quarters, you can. Be sure that you're in your current quarter. So it should say fall 2017, and it'll show you a list of everything you're enrolled in. A couple things I'll point out. It puts it in alphabetical order. It shows your units. And this is also the screen that you can modify your schedule on, that we recommend you use exclusively if there are major courses that you wanted to change. Yeah. And then lower on your My Class Schedule list, if you were to waitlist, it will show up underneath your actual registration classes under a My Class waitlist. So if you think you waitlisted for a course, but it's not showing up on this screen and you're not waitlisted for it, please go back and try to do so again. This screen also has your final exams. So this university works up final exam schedules based on the times of the lecture. So you know that going into the quarter what your exam schedule should look like, unless there is a change made by the professor. Some professors might push up an exam a week early for any given reason. They might have take-home exams. So always check your syllabus and check with your professor in case there's a change. But this is your final exam schedule. If anybody notices that you have 3 exams on the same day, please let us know. Sometimes that will happen, but we don't want incoming freshmen to be in that scenario. So if you see anything more than 2 exams in one day, let us know. So as I was saying, this is a screen you'll modify your schedule in the next couple days if there's something you were looking to modify. Drop classes before the deadline. This is where you will drop your class if you're in something that you decide you're not going to complete in the quarter and you're within a deadline. You go to this screen to drop. There is always a second action. So just clicking that button doesn't drop the class. It's going to ask you to confirm that you want to do that. Be sure you always follow through with all the actions until you get back to your My Class schedule and see the change that you intended to make. So that's where you would drop. Modify would let you switch your grading options. So only GEs can be taken for pass, no pass. Anything on the left side of that requirement sheet I showed you, where math is and where your engineering courses will be, all of those have to be taken for a letter grade. If we see that you took it for pass, no pass, we will ask you to change it back. This is where you can switch. So a lot of you are going to be interested in the switch feature in the next couple days. When you click on switch, it will allow you to move between available lectures and discussion sections. If nothing's available, it will say full and you won't be able to add the course. If you saw a different discussion time that you wanted to be in and there are spaces in the one you wanted to be in, you click switch. It saves your seat in the lecture, but it switches you between sections. Pastimes are really important. As we said, it's on you to know your pastimes and any deadlines. That's also in gold. It's under registration info. That's 2 tabs below your class schedule. And again, you can switch between quarters. So you'll want to make sure that you're in fall 2017. And this is when you will see the exact time that your registration pastime opens up. So from pass 1, 2, and 3, those will all be there. They're usually created about halfway through the quarter for the upcoming quarter. So if you're interested in winter pastimes, they should show up in your gold sometime after midterms of fall quarter. You have pass 2 soon, so be sure to go in and check exactly the time. Some people might start at 11, some people might start at 3. Be sure to go in and check. And each pastime has registration unit limit. So in pass 1, you can only register for 13 units. In pass 2, you can go up to 19. We don't recommend that freshmen take any more than the grid recommends, which is 17. If you feel you might want to go over this, please talk to us. But for this pastime, please know you can only register in 19 units. And again, check all the deadlines for how you can adjust your schedule. This is where you will see that. And as you can see, it's pointed out there. So be sure you're checking here for deadlines.
All right, so in order to add courses, if you need to add a general education course or just want to see what other general education courses are available this quarter, you'll go to the Find Courses tab on the left-hand side of gold. You pick the appropriate quarter, and we often recommend using advanced search. This can help you search for specific GE requirements that you might need to satisfy. This is the advanced search screen. You'll select the quarters, you'll just select, department, subject area, if you have specific things you're looking for. Again, this is showing you the course level information. We really want to stress that as freshmen, you're only going to take lower division courses, and that's courses numbered 1 through 99. Eventually, you will take upper division courses. Those are courses numbered 100 through 199. And in maybe your senior year, if you're interested, you can petition to take graduate level courses. And those courses are numbered 200 to 500. So again, for now, just stick with undergraduate, lower division. The very cool thing about the advanced search is that you can change, you can look for specific GE requirements. So you can look for College of Engineering, and then you can select perhaps Area D. You'd like to take a social science course. And then you can even select open sections only, and that'll show you just courses that have space available. Oh, sorry. I have to go back to the screen.
Okay, sorry. That's got it. Oh, sorry. Adding a course. So I'm going to go through the difference between what this looks like. As you can see at the top, that's highlighted in red, you have your lecture time. So lecture is going to most often in your lower division courses be a very large class. And then you have breakout sections that we call discussion sections. And those are often with TAs. and they review the material you went over that week. They might do homework in class so that you have a resource there in case you have an issue and you want to ask the TA a question. We really stress that you need to go to your discussion sections along with the lecture. A lot of classes, attendance, your grade is based a little bit in attendance in both. So be sure you're going to your discussion sections. So when you're adding in a course, you're going to add it in by the discussion section, not the lecture. Everybody goes to the same lecture. You need to find space in a discussion section that has a seat for you. So as you can see, all of these say that you can add them, but also just to the left, they're full. So if you go down towards the bottom of the screen, you'll see that the Friday sections and one of the Wednesday sections still has 10, 2, and 11 seats. Those are the classes, those are the discussion sections you'd be able to add yourself into. If you are interested in whether or not a course is a GE or what prerequisites they have, you should click on course info. That'll tell you if it has prerequisites. It'll give you some information about what the course is covering. It's also going to tell you at the bottom of course info if it applies to GEs. If it does, it will say may apply to GE, and it'll list it by colleges. So if you don't see the engineering college listed under that may apply to GE area, then it's not an engineering GE. And to go back to GE, since we were just talking about that and we had a question, engineers don't take areas B and C. That if you were looking at orientation material, you were looking at letters and science orientation material for their BS degrees. Ours focus on areas D, E, F, and G. Those are the only letter areas that we require. C is science electives. The majority of you don't take those. Wait lists. This is what Haley was talking about. We can't waitlist you for courses, so anybody who is looking for Math 4A will probably have to waitlist that course filled up, and we can't take any extra seats from them. So to add yourself to a waitlist, you'll do that via gold if a waitlist has been activated. Some departments might not do this. Consult the department website to see if there's a crash list. So if you see a course is full and it doesn't have a waitlist online, you would check that department's website or with their undergraduate advisor to see how you might get into the class. Most times that means you have to attend the first day and do what we call crashing. And you'll hear that word a lot. You have to crash the course, meaning you don't have a seat in it, but you're going to show up to the first day and the second day and the third day and hope that you get a seat. If it's a course for your major, if you're a computer science major and you're not getting into a computer science class you need, go talk to your major department advisor. They will more than likely be able to work with you to make space in the class. That's only true for your department. That's not true. We don't have control over any non-engineering department. As I said, if you're crashing, you have to attend the first course. Also, if you're on the wait list, you have to attend the first day of class. If you are waitlisted and you don't attend the first week, it's less likely that they will give you a seat. They will be giving a seat to somebody who's been attending and not a week behind in the class. So as we said, Math 4A, if you've been instructed to waitlist, you need to do so yourself. We can't add you on. If you don't get into Math 4A this quarter, that's okay. You're already ahead of grid by coming in on Math 4A, and there will be another chance to take the class in winter. Caveat, if you are a student who has to come in and take Computer Science 8, which is some of our computer engineers and some of our computer science majors, there's only one Math 4A that does not conflict with our only offering of Computer Science 8, and it's unfortunately the smaller class. So we encourage you to waitlist, but please don't be concerned if you don't get in. You will, like I said, you will have another chance, and unfortunately, we had that situation. We try to work on it so that that doesn't happen. I'm going to show you, these are fall 2017 math classes. So in the past, we were showing you old schedules. This is what a lot of you will be waitlisting for. As you can see, there are two different lectures. The one at the top has 99 seats. The one at the bottom, where it says, if you are in Computer Science 8, waitlist for this lecture only, It's full. As you can see, it holds a lot less students in that room. You might see that there are a couple spaces in discussion sections, but if there is no space in the lecture, you can't add into a discussion section. So that's what the waitlist looks like. As you can see, both of them have active waitlists. So if you do want a waitlist for math, go ahead, click any of those either of those waitlist buttons, because what it's going to do is it's going to show you a list just like that. Well, it's going to show you a list like this, but for math, and it's going to give you an option to waitlist for both lectures. You're going to want to only check the lecture that you can actually attend. If you're in CS8, please don't check the top lecture, because if you get a seat in it, unfortunately, it's going to conflict with your CS8, and you need to be in that one first. So this is what it would look like if you were to click to waitlist a class. It gives you the option to waitlist for as many sections as you'd like. We recommend that you waitlist for as many discussion sections as will work in your schedule. It will increase your odds. If everybody's going after one popular discussion time and you choose to waitlist for the less popular discussion time, you might get into that class before everybody who's going after a noon class. 8 a.m.s are not very popular. So as we said, check times that fit your schedule. Pick all that fit your schedule. Don't just waitlist for one lecture. And you can choose to link a waitlisted course with something you're already in. So if you are in a general education course, you're in a GE that you aren't interested in, you're not going to be able to drop it because you can't drop below 12 units. But what you can do is link it to a waitlisted course. And what that means is if you get off the waitlist, the system will automatically drop you from your currently enrolled class and replace it with the waitlisted class. So this is a really helpful feature, and we encourage you to use it. If you have questions, please let us know.
All right, so duplicate matriculation, that's a really long phrase for that you cannot take a course you've already taken. So if you completed AP, IB coursework, you've taken courses at another university or college, we may not know about that yet because we haven't received all of your student data in our office. So it's up to you to check your schedule to make sure we haven't enrolled you in something you've already completed. A good resource for this is, again, in Gear. There's a list both for IB and AP scores. You can see what a specific AP score is equivalent to. So I have some examples there. If you took AP Psychology and you scored a 3, 4, or 5, you cannot take Psych 1. So it's your responsibility to make sure that this hasn't already happened in your fall schedule, and then in the future that you don't enroll yourself in something you already have credit for. We had a few other questions that were pre-submitted that I wanted to address. Some students would like to double major or have a minor. That's fairly common for our engineers to have a minor, and a double major is a little less common. This is because there's so many units in engineering majors that it's hard to have a whole nother major on top of that. You may not double major in 2 majors within engineering, but you may double major or minor with most of the majors in other colleges. If you're interested in doing this, it's very important that you plan ahead. You talk with advisors in both colleges. You talk with advisors in both majors as early as you think you know that you might want to pursue this option. Often you'll have to make a plan for your full 4 years, including all coursework for both majors or minors and all general education requirements. Purchasing tools. People have asked about purchasing tools or software, hardware, and doing personal projects. For all majors, there's 2 main shops, the electrical and computer engineering shop, and also the mechanical engineering shop. Once you've been trained, there's different protocols for that. You can use those shops to work on your personal projects, and you can often purchase the things you need to do so from the shop. So go to those links if you are interested in more about that. And people have asked us what they should prepare for courses before classes begin. We aren't aware of any specific requirements. That's because our office isn't notified of those. We do think that there are requirements in the chemistry course. you should check your UMail every day to look for that those instructions. Eventually, you'll have access to a system called Gaucho Space. This is what most instructors use to share syllabus and other instructional resources. You might have to submit homework through Gaucho Space, and my guess is this is where you'll find some of these pre-instructional activities as well. But again, check your UMail all the time, and if possible, you can also contact the department that offers the course you think might have some homework you need to do. So at this point, we will take questions. We have about 20 minutes. Again, if we don't get to your question or your question is very specific about your situation, please just send us an email and we will get back to you.
Okay, so one of these we've answered live. Is there a place I can work on my own project before I learn these protocols in upper division class? We have students who get into groups through student organizations who work on projects all the time. We have students working on personal projects starting freshman year all the time. It's just getting to know the different labs. Some things you might not have access to, but a lot of people, once you take the machine shop class, you have access to the machine shop, and there are really helpful guys in there to teach you how to use things. If you already know how to use things and you find a friend, there are labs all over campus. If you need a bigger space, come talk to us and we'll ask you what that space might need to have and see if we can't help you find one. But yes, there are places to do projects all over campus.
And at any level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Somebody has asked, most of the credit they receive from AP exams do not apply to a letter GE requirement. Can those be counted as electives? The answer is yes. So most of you have taken AP exams in chemistry or physics. We do not count the chemistry and physics AP exams towards specific course requirements. And because you don't have a science area in most of your majors, you're doing mostly engineering, those classes do just move into your elective units. And those units are important, and it's good that you have them. But you will start by taking Chemistry 1A, and everyone will take Physics 1 in the winter.
Computer science majors. If you took AP Bio, you might not need to take your science electives. So check with Margaret. She's your department advisor on that. But that's really the only major that accepts AP science work outside of math. Any other questions? I would also like to point out about the double majoring. That's not something you need to know that you want to do in your first fall quarter. But within your freshman year, if you think there's another major you want to add in, you should go talk to that department advisor, sit down with them first to find out what prerequisite classes they want you to take before you can actually be in that major. Because you do have to be accepted into their major along with being approved for both double majors.
Somebody asked, can a UC transferable community college credit transfer? Yes, those classes do transfer. If you haven't already, you must send the official transcripts from the California or any community college to our Office of Admissions. They will evaluate that coursework and apply it to your degree. So again, very important to make sure that you're not enrolled in any classes that you've already taken. You can also look, if it's a California community college, you can look on assist.org to see how what class that is at UCSB.
Is there an Area H general education requirement? Area H for engineering students is considered a language. So if you took AP Spanish or AP French and you scored a 3 or higher, you do get the Area H credit. That goes into what we call our extra 2-letter areas that we require of our students. So everyone will have to take at least 4 in D, E, F, G, or H. But if you do have some H area GEs, you can use them. Those do count, but it's not required. Our engineers do not have to take a foreign language.
It seems like, let's see. Can new ACT writing scores be transferred to old ACT writing scores? No. The new ACT and new SAT tests do not have any placement value. So if you took only the new test, you will need to take the AWPE or ELPE if you're specifically asking about writing placement.
As an engineering student, it seems we don't take a GE in the fall semester. That's very true. Very few of our engineers have GEs in their fall quarter curriculum. If you're coming in ahead and you don't want to move on to Math 4A yet, or you don't get a seat in the class, that might be a good spot to put in a GE. Computer science majors might be in 3 GEs right now. So yes, the majority of our engineers come in and you get right into your STEM classes, into your chem, into your math, and into an intro to programming class. Writing is a GE, so a lot of you should be in that as well.
A question about minors. If you want to do a minor, when do you need to decide? You can decide almost at any point. It's something that you do declare with the department that offers that minor. So you can look into that as early as you want. Usually minors are fairly small number of courses. So even if you decide to do that in your sophomore, junior, probably not senior year, but sophomore and junior year, you'd probably still have time to finish a minor. Again, it's really about planning ahead and making sure you have the time in your schedule to take that number of units or that number of courses.
The nice thing about a minor is you're not committed to it. So if you started taking a couple of the classes for a minor in your sophomore year, and then junior year gets very busy and you realize you don't have the interest to finish it, you go back to that department and you let them know that you would like to drop your minor. So when should I start to take upper division for the major? A lot of students will start to do that at the end of your sophomore year. Upper division courses are only for juniors and seniors, but that means junior level. It doesn't mean true junior status. So that's based off of your units, and a lot of you are going to come in with AP units or CC transfer work, and all of that counts towards your class level units. So I think it's 89 units or so is upper division standing. And so if you have 80 units or 89 units by winter quarter of your sophomore year, you will be considered junior level standing and you can start enrolling in upper divisions. You can see your standing on registration info in gold. So it's all there at the bottom. It'll let you know your major, it'll let you know your class level, and it'll also know if you're in any programs, like if you're in the Regent Scholar or if you're in the honors program.
Somebody's asking about joining a class if they join the lecture and not the discussion. The system actually will not let you do this. If a class has a discussion, it's required in almost all cases. So on Gold, you can only register for the class via the discussion section, and then you will be enrolled in both the lecture and the discussion section.
How do we get the books that the class needs, and do you need to prepare it before the class begins? Again, we kind of touched on this. We're not really sure if any of your specific classes have pre-first day of class work. I don't think many do, but if they do, our only way as a university right now to communicate with most of our students is through email. So if any of your classes were to require prep work, they would communicate that to your email. So be sure you're logging into that portal and you're not forwarding emails. You can check books by going through the UCSB bookstore. So if you just Google UCSB bookstore, it's fairly easy to navigate their website, and you can search each class that you're in and see what required texts that class is going to require. I think they have all of the fall requirements in, but there still might be some departments submitting their textbook requests. But UCSB bookstore, you can play around with the textbooks and find all of the books that your classes are going to require.
You are all enrolled in 12 units. For the most part, if you're an international student, you should be enrolled in 12 units. If you're a domestic student, you might not be. If you are enrolled in 12 units, somebody would like to know if you will be enrolled in a writing course. You will not. That is up to you. So like I said, the writing tests are likely to be scored before the quarter begins, and you can then get your score, determine your placement, and either add yourself to a course via Gold or to the waitlist. And we highly, highly recommend or require that if you are placed into a linguistics course or a writing one, that you must add that course. Ideally, there's going to be space for you. If there's not, you'll need to talk with us or talk with the writing program or the people that offer the linguistics courses, and we can kind of create a schedule for you. But it's very important that you start taking these courses as early as possible if you're placed into linguistics or writing one, but you'll need to do that yourself on Gold. We won't be enrolling you in any more classes.
For students who are placed into linguistics, in the past, a lot of people were concerned about grid, about that throwing them off, because if you are placed into linguistics into a 3 series, it might mean a couple extra writing classes. That is okay. We will work with you on that. Don't follow the recommendations of the writing program, and we will work with you to adjust grid. But really, if you have to take an extra couple classes for GEs in order to get those writing requirements done, it is okay, and it has worked out perfectly fine for many other people in the past.
Asking about the special writing courses. So in addition to what we're talking about your entry-level writing requirement and your Area A requirement. Those are composition classes. They focus on writing itself. In addition to that, there is the 6-course writing requirement. Oh, it's 4. It's 4.
So yeah, if you saw 6, you were looking at letters and science. So letters and science has very different GE requirements and a lot more than we have. We only require you to take 6 letter areas and 4 writing requirements.
Yes. Any of you who viewed the letters and science orientation presentations, please be sure that you go back and review the presentations that are on our website. And in the future, looking at any of the communications that the Office of International Students and Scholars sends you, please be sure to check the engineering specific presentations because they are very different.
Yeah.
But it's 4 writing requirement courses, and those courses involve more writing, at least 100 or 1,800 words. So they aren't focused on writing itself, but they are classes that involve more writing overall.
Outside of your midterm and your final. So this means they're going to make you do a research paper of sorts. You get to choose the type.
I'm not sure what an MCU is, so if whoever wrote about asking about MCUs, if you could explain further what that means, we will try to answer that.
Is it true that I will know which writing class to take only after taking the writing placement test? Yes, if you haven't scored one of the 3 things that we mentioned, which is ACT, SAT, or the AP to place you, you have to take this test in order to enroll in a class. The system won't let you unless you take the test and get a score. And the writing program will communicate that to you. So again, keep an eye on your email after you take that test because that's how they're going to tell you where you should be placed. And then the system will also let you enroll in that class. And we tried to build people's schedules to accommodate writing classes. If you're placed into a linguistics class, there's a lot of options for them. So there should be one that will work into your current schedule. If you do place into writing 2 or 2E and it conflicts with your schedule, you can definitely wait until winter quarter to take it.
Somebody asked, do I need to consult an advisor if I want to change my GE course? No. We've placed you in classes that we think are appropriate for, first quarter freshmen. But if you'd like to change your GE course, just again, make sure it's not a course you already have credit for. Make sure it's a course that fits into your schedule and doesn't overlap with anything. And if you want further guidance, we're happy to help.
Oh, and the other question we have is the same. Can we drop the GE that the advisor's already chosen for us? So yes, that was just answered. It's a microcontrol unit. That would be a really good question for your faculty. That is one of those things that is more in depth to the content of your engineering course that we're not going to be able to answer ourselves, but there are other resources on campus who can answer that for you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Those are one of those things that, since we are not engineers, we don't know all the acronyms that you might use.
Oh.
If I want to change a GE, that advisor, oh, can I add a new GE before I drop my old? Oh, that's a good, different question. So if you're looking to change your GE and you're within 12 or 13 units, yes, you can definitely add in other GEs before dropping the one we enrolled you in. In fact, you would have to, because as we mentioned before, the system will not let you drop below 12 units once you are enrolled in 12 units. This is the minimum units required of full-time students. So they're only going to let you switch things out from here on out. So yes, if you see another GE and there is space and you want to take that one instead of the one we enrolled you in, please add yourself to that class or add yourself to the wait list and link it to the GE that you don't want to be in. So once you've been added into the other GE, you'll be able to drop the one you don't like.
Regarding the writing placement, if you did score, if you have a score that has placed you, that has fulfilled your entry-level writing requirement, for instance, a 3 on either of the AP English exams, that means that you can, well, I don't want to get too specific, but yes, if you have an appropriate score and you've sent it to UCSB and we have received it, you may enroll in the appropriate writing course during your pastime. Again, if you have any questions about the writing placement, I know it can be very confusing. We're happy to look at specific cases. If you send us an email and just include your PERM number, we can tell you exactly which course to register for based on your major and based on your test scores.
We did not, I don't think we enrolled students in writing.
Yeah.
Okay. There aren't, the thing about the writing courses, they're really small courses. This is a class that is only 25 students and they only offer so many seats each quarter and they fill up very quickly. So if we didn't place you in, it might have been because it was full. If you had a score that placed you into writing 2 or 2E and we didn't register you for it, there's limited offerings of these classes because of the nature of their size.
I actually think there's a lot of space in 2E.
Okay, cool.
Because we didn't have a lot of test scores in yet. That's another factor. If we didn't have your score, we may not have placed you in a class, but you're definitely welcome to place yourself or double check with us before you enroll.
So if there's space, definitely go add yourself into that 2E. And this is for all of our students except for computer science who will take writing 2.
If you'd like to discuss your fall schedule with an academic advisor, if you'd like to, if it's a simple question you can discuss through email, please email us now. We will get back to you. If you'd like to talk to us in person, again, we're here Monday through Friday, 9 to noon and 1 to 4. So once you are on campus, if it's during that time, come on in. We'll look at everything with you.
We might not have a lot of information yet as far as how stuff is transferring in because admissions office will be working on profiles for freshmen well into the fall quarter. So if you have a lot of transfer work from other universities, we might be limited in what we know is going to cover what areas, but for the most part, we will have that information. What does area E1 mean? Is this the same as area E? I didn't find it on the CS major requirement. Yes, I do believe that is a letters and science distinction. Letter area E for us is just E across the board. We don't have any designations between our letter areas. It's just E or D, E, F, and G. So if you see something that was for E1, that was probably a letters and science thing.
And all the letter areas are general education requirements. They are not major requirements, so you won't find them listed in your major.
Yes, you have prep for major, and then you have your upper division majors. So, and some might have computer science or science electives, but that's major-wise, that's what you do.
Someone asked about waitlisting courses and pastimes. You can only make changes to your schedule. That means waitlisting and adding courses or even dropping courses if you are in a pastime. So again, you'll have a pastime very soon. Check gold for that exact time. And only during your pastime will you be able to waitlist or add a course.
And Pass 1 and 2 last for about 3 or 4 days each. Pass 3 opens up before the quarter begins and will remain open through the quarter. So you just have to worry about the deadlines of the dropping and changing grades. You don't have to worry about your pastime ending. Do we have to take 1D and, okay, this is great. Do we have to take 1D and 1E, or can we take 2E for GEs? You can take 2 Ds, you can take 2 Es, or you can take one of each. Our stipulation is more of the content. So D and E fall under social sciences, culture studies, that's going to be more histories, ethnic studies, and then F and G are based in art and literature. So as long as you complete 2 from each subcategory, you don't have to stick to a specific letter for the whole time or anything like that. It's just the difference of taking 2 social or cultural sciences and 2 art or literature based classes. So those are designated by the focus of content that they're studying.
Another question about the writing exam. When will you have the scores? So if you take the exam, either the AWPE or the ELPE, before the quarter starts, again, I've been told that they will try to score them as quickly as possible and have scores ready before the start of the quarter, allowing students to enroll in the appropriate course. So I don't know exactly when those will be done. I hope that they will be done. I've been told they will be done. So be checking with either that department or check your UMail. Somehow your scores will get to you, and hopefully you can enroll in the course that you were placed in before the quarter starts or within the first few days of the quarter.
Also, a lot of writing classes are Monday, Wednesday, and that first week of classes don't start until Thursday. So a lot of writing classes won't actually meet on that first week. So if you're not in the writing class during the first week, there's a very good likeliness that you won't miss any class. So as long as you have your test score by the second official week of school, you should be good. Oh, that one? Yeah. Depth requirement. We have a great sheet. We will send it out to you via UMail during your week of welcome. Depth is confusing. It's confusing to us too. I wish I had my chart. We have a really handy chart. We'll send it out to you. There's 2 main ways to complete the depth requirement.
There's 3.
3. There's 2 main ways.
Yeah.
There's 3 ways.
Common ways.
The first way, so you will find how to complete depth on page 11 of Gear. It's right here. And so there, as I said, there's 3 ways, 2 common ways. The least common way, the third way, is a minor. So if you think you have an interest in humanities and you thought you might want to do a minor in psychology or anthropology or a language, that will complete your depth. So we do have a list of accepted minors, and if you're not sure if a minor would count, you can come and talk to us. If it's science-based, it's not going to count for depth. So I'll go into common ways. Number 1 is a series, and that means 3 courses that all have the same number. They're in the same department, but they have different letters. So this would be if any of you are enrolled in Chicano Studies 1A. There's Chicano Studies 1A, 1B, and 1C. If you took all 3 of those classes, that would complete your depth. Depth means you're taking a focus in one area. Not a huge focus, you're just taking more than one class in a specific department. So as we said, there's series. There are a number of different series that you could take, not just Chicano Studies. There's religious studies, history, philosophy. Art history is a huge one. So if anybody has art history, you can get a lot of requirements through with our Art History 6. And that's the only exception, that it's not just A, B, and C. It's A through K. And you only have to pick 3 courses in any order to take of those 3 of that Art History 6 series. So stipulations of the series, they don't have to be taken in order. So you can take 1C and then go backwards and take 1B and 1A. They're not prerequisite classes for each other. They just correlate with topics. So they might study the history of America and be broken down into chunks of time. So that's option 1 is a series. Option 2 is to take 4 classes. You would take 2 lower divisions and 2 upper divisions, and they need to pair in departments. So if you take, if currently you're in a lower division psychology class, you can take an upper division psychology GE, and that would be half your depth. And then say you took a music class because you need that art requirement. So you took a lower division music class, but you still need another F and G. Then you take an upper division music class, and that is the other half of your depth. And with those 4 classes, you've gotten all of your depth completed. So the stipulation is those can't just be any classes. They do have to cover a GE in some way. So whether they give you writing or they give you a letter area, they have to be GEs. And they do have to be within the same department. For general education, the only time you can use 3 classes from one department in your 6 letter areas is if you do a series. Otherwise, if you're really interested in philosophy, but you're not doing a minor, and you take 4 philosophy classes and they're all GEs, only 2 of those are going to count towards your 6 letter areas. So talk to us if you think you might take a lot of classes in one department, because we might suggest you talk to them about taking a minor.
Somebody's asked about using a GE class to cover several areas. That's great, and yes, you can do that. So History 2A is an Area E requirement. It also fulfills European traditions and writing. So that's really when we talk about fulfilling your GEs efficiently, that's a class that we would sometimes recommend. If you think of another one,
Art History 6A.
Yeah. Yes.
Gives you all those things too.
Yeah. But so yeah, sometimes people call this double or triple dipping. That means it fulfills multiple requirements, and that's great. There's some classes that do meet 2 letter area requirements. Those cannot be double dipped. If a course fulfills 2 letter areas, you have to specify which letter area you are using it for.
The system will actually do that automatically where you need it. Can you take CS8 and CS16 concurrently? No. CS8 is prep work for CS16, so if you don't have any previous experience in programming, you need to take CS8 first to be properly prepared for CS16. If you do have prior programming experience through a community college or through AP, and you're a CS major, talk to your department advisor. If you felt you are beyond CS8, they might be able to get you into CS16. But if you're unsure, you should attend the first week of CS8 and see if it's something you're comfortable with.
Are there any major courses that also fulfill GEs? The only major course that fulfills a GE is Engineering 101. It is Ethics of Engineering. It's a course students usually take in their senior year. It's required for computer science, computer engineering, and electrical engineering students. It fulfills the writing requirement. Did I say that?
No.
And chemical engineers and mechanical engineering students can take it as well as an elective for their major, and also receive that writing requirement.
So a lot of you will only actually need GEs with 3 writing requirements because you know that your senior year, you're guaranteed a 4th one. Great question.
Yeah. And there's no more questions, and we're out of time, so that's great. If you want to ask us any further questions, just send us an email. Come see us when you're on campus. I promise we're friendly, and we often have candy in our office, so stop by and say hi. We'll send you in the right direction, or we can answer your questions in the office.
We did just get one last question about publishing material. That would be something that would go through your department, and typically that's something research labs do. We don't publish material from our office, but it is a great accomplishment, and if you wanted to get into a research lab, that would be something you talk to them about, but I don't know if you could publish anything through UCSB that you didn't complete or work on at UCSB, is my guess. So while that paper might not be able to be published under UCSB's umbrella, there are definitely projects that you might be able to work on that will be published one day.
Definitely talk to your faculty. Ask them questions, ask your teaching assistants questions, TAs. They can all give you tips about research and publishing.
All right, thank you all for attending our very first webinar. We really, really hope that this was helpful for you. And we will, please email us your questions. It's 7 o'clock for us here, so we will be leaving the office after this, but we will be here bright and early in the morning, and you'll have answers waiting for you when you wake up.
Okay, we'll see you in the fall.
Bye, guys.